Would you like to know how to live this eclipse in the most empowering way? Keep watching until the end to receive all my tips to harness its power. The first thing I will tell you is that I'm not gonna tell you what is going to happen, because that would be very disempowering. I'm not so much into predictive astrology, but more into experiential astrology. And experiential astrology is all about observing how each energy is manifesting in your life. So the last new moon we had at 10 degrees of Taurus was in May 2003. What was the cycle that started for you then? In my case, I remember I was in high school and I was going through a depression. I was like a ghost, and I remember I failed 2 subjects when I used to have very good grades before. And I was going through this period thinking there was no way out of it and that nobody could understand. And then my mother one day told me, why you don't change schools? And I really didn't think about it before. But when she said it, it was so simple. Like, if this is not working for you, why you don't try something else? And by November that year, which is when the cycle completed with the full moon in Taurus, I was already in another school. It was a 360 degrees change in my day-to-day life for the better. Despite first I had to go through one of the most challenging periods of my life. Why is this eclipse so relevant? Well, this is the second eclipse in the Taurus Scorpio series. So there are 7 eclipses in the Taurus Scorpio series. The first one was on November 19 last year with the full moon in Taurus. It was a lunar eclipse, but still without the North Node there. It was still in Gemini. But it already gave us some clues of what this eclipse would be about. And with this solar eclipse of new moon in Taurus of April 30, we do have the North Node there. And so it's like a new moon which is related to a time of sealing your intentions with a lot more power with the eclipse. And it is so relevant because it's going to be the only solar eclipse of North Node in Taurus. The other ones are going to be the lunar eclipses or the solar eclipse we have on October in Scorpio. So Venus is going to be the ruler of this eclipse, being the ruler of Taurus, which is a sign of the new moon. And here Venus is like in Lucifer's show when he asks, what do you truly want? What do you truly desire? And Venus is in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter and Neptune, and sextile Pluto, which is the ruler of the South Node. The North Node has to do with the direction of our journey. And in the following videos I'm going to be talking about stages of awakening. And I've noticed that when there is an eclipse, it usually helps you jump from one stage to the other. It doesn't mean it cannot happen any other time, but it usually gives a lot more power to the energy. So it's like the wind is helping you navigate in the direction the soul wants to go. And we are at the moment where anything can happen. So at this time, whatever your intention is going to be amplified and manifested in a grandiose way. At the same time, we have Uranus in Taurus, the sign where the North Node is. What does that mean? Change, volatility, the unexpected, surprises, acceleration. We can see a lot of technological acceleration. Like we're probably going to see a lot of advancement in everything that's going on with the metaverse. And also it can be related to jumping into the financial system new paradigm, since Uranus rules also the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And so what's the key to go in the direction of the North Node? The South Node. Because many times they talk about the South Node like something we are letting go, and partly yes, we are letting go of the lower frequency of that energy. But the key to jump to the North Node is always becoming one with the South Node. Integrating that energy, give us that energy to change. And it's kind of paradoxical because Taurus represents stability, and in a lower vibration it represents a comfort zone. But Uranus there is basically bringing a lot of instability and a lot of change. And both Scorpio and Taurus have a lot to do with attachment. Taurus is the one that wants to hold on to everything it has, and Scorpio is the one that goes from all to nothing and starts over. And this kind of has to do with the myth of Eve and the apple and the snake. The forbidden fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So this series of eclipses in a symbolical level have to do with reintegrating duality into unity again. It's kind of a coming back to paradise, coming back to Eden, coming back to 5D Eden, to 5D Earth. And this time, where we are changing from one era to another, it's not happening so much by world destruction, like it could have been the flood after Atlantis, but it's happening through a rebirth in the same body. And these eclipses are going to bring a lot of energy that have to do with dying alive to become your higher self in the body, in the flesh, embodying more of your soul, more of who you are. And for that we'll be going through a lot of clearing of layers and layers that there could be in between. And at this point it's important to remember that painful situations are not to make you suffer, but to wake you up. And here it's important to distinguish two types of fears. Fear is the mechanism that is in place to protect us from danger, but there is another kind of fear that all of us have felt at some point when we are about to do something like public speaking that can be a huge opportunity for us, but we have that fear that wants to prevent us to do it, and in that case it's not really protecting us but keeping us in the comfort zone. And I will be talking more about this in the next videos about awakening, but it has to do with to go from 3D to 5D we have to go through 4D, which puts us in contact with the unconscious. And the unconscious is related to Scorpio, like our shadows. And here is not about demonizing the shadows, but realizing that it's just a part of you that's scared and that holds a lot of energy that you can embrace and transform and let it be what it truly is, which is just energy, and then use that energy, that power to feed your true intentions in the now moment. Because the unconscious is basically holding the theater that you built in the past, and at this point we are transitioning to a new earth, and the old scenario is leaving, yes, but that old scenario, we're not getting rid of it or kicking it out. We are basically making peace with it so we can reintegrate that energy and create something new. So it's not about destroying the past, but about transforming that attachment into something else. And in that case, fear indicates you the way. It indicates you where you're about to cross the veil of illusion into the new, which is your true essence. And for that we are brought to the precipice and we are looking into the abyss, and it's about daring greatly and quantum jumping into another reality. Because all the poison that can be found in Scorpio is ultimately a defense mechanism that was in place because there was a painful memory that it was protecting. And to be able to connect with that satisfaction that Taurus brings when we have what we want, the poison needs to become fuel, braveness and integrity is our core. So to be able to maintain that stillness that Taurus represents and enter this bull season that in investment they talk about the bull season, and Taurus is actually the bull, when all shares go up. And I actually realized that sometimes you have some investments that you made that you're losing money and you're holding because you hope that one day they'll be profitable again, but you just keep losing money, and you realize that if you move that energy into another share that it's making a lot more than what you're losing, to restructure that energy in a way that makes much more sense, instead of always waiting that in the future it will change, because the future is now, and with Uranus it's going to feel a lot like that, like the changes are happening now, and you can either go with the flow or build resistance, which takes a lot of effort, and end up feeling you have no control, and you're being taken somewhere else. So sometimes what brings you the most security in the long term is not necessarily stay in the comfort zone, and it actually never is, because it's like thinking having a job brings you stability, when maybe at this time it's the most risky option, because it's like having only one income stream when there is a lot of uncertainty. And if you choose other things that maybe seem more risky, you end up having more security in the long run. It's like a priority, Bitcoin seems more risky than having the money in the bank, but if you actually see it from a future perspective, maybe Bitcoin is a lot more secure than having the money in the bank with all the inflation that's going on. So things not always are what they seem. And with Taurus and Scorpio, it's a lot about going deep into the subconscious and seeing the energies that were stuck in there and liberating them to flow again into where you choose to go next. And then at a personal level, each one of us is going to have the eclipse in a different life area depending on your zodiac wheel. So if you want to know more about your personal case, reach out for a session about your moon cycle. And I invite you to keep tuned for the next video about stages of awakening. Hit the like button if you got value, subscribe, comment. And if you haven't watched it yet, it's gonna be very useful for you to watch my last video about how to resolve your problems. So time to reset and start over. Enjoy the eclipse season. Bye bye.